So here's why we're here today. So I'm going to screen share an Instagram post. And I think this is a lot of what we all deal with, right? So I teach AI and people are always asking me, what are my secret prompts? What are the secret things I know? And honestly, a lot of it, even though I have my systems trained, are a lot of this. This is what I'm saying to AI still these days, especially if I go into a new AI system where I or a new AI chat where I haven't trained it. And I know that a lot of people are struggling with that, right? But there is a fix, which is very good to know. If you were nodding along to that, then you know the pain. So that's what we're fixing today. We're creating something you build once, and we'll do that in the next hour. And it's something you're going to keep. So in the next hour, you'll create a reusable voice profile. So it's a short description of how you actually sound, and you can paste at the top of any AI chat. So what comes back sounds like you, not a stranger, not AI slop. So you build it from a sample of your own writing, and you'll leave with the finished profile plus a one-page template to keep with the prompts. And if we move quickly and we have time at the end, I'd like to take it a little further, and we can have AI figure out what you don't want to sound like, your avoid list. And we can build a quick snapshot of who you're writing for. So both are optional bonuses. So if we don't get to them, you'll still walk away with the main thing you came for. And I will have those bonus prompts in the freebie that I give you at the end. So let's get into it. A real quick chat about who this hour won't help. So if you're already building your own agentic tools and workflows, and you've got a brand book already that you're genuinely happy with, this might not be for you. So no hard feelings. You're past it. But if any of this sounds like you, you're in the right room. And it really doesn't matter how much AI you've used before. So you're tired of everything AI writes sounding generic. You're keeping the be more casual or reword that or that's not quite me. And you're typing that over and over every time. You know you should have a brand book, but you're not sure how to build one or where to start. Or even if you're not even sure what a brand book is, that's great, or why you'd want one. This is for you. That last one, especially if you've never even heard the term and you're quietly wondering if you're behind, you're not. That's exactly who I built this for. A quick little intro here about me. I've been running online businesses for about 20 years with two long running brands, The Barefoot Nomad, which is a travel website, and The Parent Spot, which is a recipe and lifestyle blog and brand. I also run Adapt Lab. We have over 500 people in the community now, and I teach AI every week to people who are smart and busy and not always techie. My background is neuroscience, and here's why that matters for today. I don't think your brain was ever built to hold that kind of context in your head over and over again and reload it from scratch every time you do a blank chat. That explaining is a real cognitive load. And it's not you being disorganized, it's a system problem, and we can solve it. Okay, before we go further, some of you use AI every single day. Some of you just opened your first chat a couple of weeks ago. So this works the same for everybody because I bet even daily users in here have never really built this one time and kept it. So that's a gap, nothing to do with how advanced you are. So AI is really great at writing, even though it doesn't seem like it, but it's bad at guessing. A blank chat without any context about you knows nothing about you, so it writes for everybody, which means it really writes for no one. Doesn't sound like you because you've never told it how you sound. And even when you do, you tell it once in one chat and then it's gone. So the fix is one thing, a voice profile. It's a short, reusable description of how you sound that you can hand to any chat. So that's what we're going to build now. So I am building today in Claude. You can use ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok if that's your thing. No, not a lot of people use it. Anything will work for this. So you can follow along with me in Claude if you want. So I'm going to paste the prompt I'm going to use in the chat here. I have to break it, unfortunately, into two quick chat messages, because there's a character limit here in school. There we go. I'm going to paste that in my chat too. You can go ahead and follow along with me if you want and build yours live. I'm going to add writing samples. So for you, you can do a lot here for writing samples. The more you give it, the better. The writing sample I'm going to use is from the Barefoot Nomad, which is my travel blog. So you can see this actually working in action. Multiple samples are great. You can use an article or blog post, school community posts, YouTube or podcast transcripts, Instagram captions. You can even just sit down and hit the microphone and just voice dictate, and it will pull from that. If you don't have anything, you can put in samples of writing you admire and you would like to sound like. That will be great. So I am going to give it some URLs here from blog posts that I wrote. You can go here and click the plus and add files. You can take screenshots, whatever you want to do. All right. A note on my model here. I am in Claude. I'm using Opus 4.8 High. I'm going to drop that so it's a little bit faster for everybody today. So you don't have to sit and wait for my responses. If I have lots of usage credits, I tend to use whatever is the highest model for me. So you can run this on Fable if you want, if you have the money. I use Opus 4.8 a lot because it is really good, works really well, and I usually use the high if I have lots of usage credits, but we'll do Sonnet 5 medium right now. Actually, we'll do Sonnet and effort, and we'll put it on high. And that will work just fine for this. In ChatGPT, you can use something similar, a mid-range model. That's perfect. So it's thinking for a minute. It's going through the writing samples, reading them, extracting what I sound like. Yeah, if you're following along with me, feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions, anything you want to know. Here we go. It's going to build a profile. It's creating an artifact. Claude sometimes just does what it wants. Sometimes it'll put it in the chat below. Sometimes it'll create an artifact on the side. It thinks a little bit. Claude can be a little pedantic. So it's fine. It talks about my tone, whether it's warm, direct, or practical, sentence style, whether I use contractions or not, which is great because I don't like contractions. I find are more informal. That's what I like to be on the Barefoot Nomad. No M dashes, commas, periods, words and phrases I never use, and who I'm writing for. So that's pretty accurate, I think. If what you get in Claude or ChatGPT back isn't quite right, feel free to kick back to it. Say, it's not really working. Okay. So I want it to add something about how I usually start my articles. I tend to be a storyteller and lead with that. And I'd like my voice profile to reflect that. You might have something different. You might read through it and go, it says no, I actually want to sound more professional. So feel free to kick back to it, tell it that. The point here is the AI is helping you build your voice profile, but you're the editor, you're in charge, you're the drafter. So this is human first. Okay, so it added a little bit how I usually open an article. It added that. That's something I wanted. If there's something you see in there that you want or don't like, kick back and correct it. So that is the bare bones of this. It can be that simple. But the trick is putting the writing samples in, giving it the writing samples so you give it more context, more information. The more you give it, the better it's going to be. So if you look at it, you see how specific it is to me and the Barefoot Nomad. If I did this for Adapt Lab, it would sound very different. It says use rhetorical questions, no M dash, who I'm writing for. So it's got a little bit of no M dashes, which is anti-AI writing, which is really important. Okay, so one thing I want you to do before we get on to some more of this is we can actually test this on a sample of writing. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to do this in a new chat. So I copy my voice profile in just to keep it nice and simple and create a sample first newsletter. I encourage you to try this too. Just see how it's working. This is a really good test to see if it's working for you. You could use it to create an Instagram post, a YouTube transcript, really anything you can think of. I think a newsletter works quite well. And you can see what Chad is thinking in the background there. I find Claude tends to over deliver a lot. This voice profile, you can take it and use it in any other AI you're using. Okay, so it's asking me a few questions about the newsletter it's building. So I answered those and it's going to come up with a newsletter here. It's asking me a detail. Let's add it to this. Send it. Send the newsletter, the people who are reading it to that blog post. And we'll take a look at the output and we'll see if that actually sounds like me. So on your end, if you're following along with me, do the same thing, give it a try, see if it sounds like you. If it's ringing true, if not, if it doesn't, go back to your voice profile and change what's wrong. So if you did try it and your AI is a little faster than mine today, tell me in the chat, did it sound more like you? It's created it and popped it up nice and long. And as we read through it, welcome. Okay. Yeah, that's true. It knows all about me. I've been doing it since what to expect from us. Okay, so that sounds pretty good to me. I don't have anything to really change in that. But I'm gonna go back to creating our voice profile, and we're gonna work on refining this now. So if you're following along with me, go back to your voice profile. If there's anything in that sample you didn't like, talk back to chat and change it. Mine sounded okay. So now we're gonna move on and do something a little bit, make it even better and a little bit more detailed. I'm gonna give you another prompt here. So we're going to give it what not to say. So this is a little bit, this is, I think, as important as what you should say. So I'm going to give you the prompt here. You can put this in. I'm going to put it in mine. So it's suggesting words, phrases, tones, and things I want to avoid. This is really important because quite often, I find some AIs, ChatGPT, can sound a little bit like a cheerleader, almost overly enthusiastic, or it can sound more professional than you want, or it can assume because, for example, you're a fitness coach, that you're going to be very feel the pain, feel the burn. And if that's not you, then you want your voice profile to reflect that. Okay, so mine came back and said, what I don't do are using corporate jargon. I avoid AI tells, fantastic. Avoid coach and guru speak, hype and hustle language, salesy click through CTA language, avoiding M dashes. Well, that all looks good. So I'm going to confirm and let's do something else too. I have another prompt I'm going to paste in the chat and we're just going to refine this and make it a little bit better. So this is a quick audience snapshot and we'll add it in. A little extra bonus to make this a little more robust. This is capturing who you're writing for, and it's going to prompt your AI to ask you questions about your ideal reader one at a time, and then write a short audience snapshot. This is something that I really find useful in Claude or in ChatGPT, asking it to work with you and ask you questions to refine. Claude is having a brain fart right now. It's for the Barefoot Nomad. That's hilarious. Okay, I'm going to answer its questions here as we go. So it's asking who my audience is. Okay, so I'm telling them that my people lean more to value for the dollar, but they'll do luxury if they're worth it. So you're going to be different, of course, for your business. You're going to be filling in whatever works for you. Okay, one last one. Okay, so I've answered all of its questions. It's sitting and coming back with the audience piece of this. So there's an audience snapshot here, who they are, the moment they're in, what makes them click away, phrases they'd use to describe them. So if you take a look here, we've got the full voice profile, words and phrases we're avoiding, the sentence style, the tone, who I'm writing for, how I open an article, which is something I added manually. So feel free to add things that you want specifically. This is great and it's a really helpful start. But here's the catch, you have to copy this and paste it into every AI tool you use, right? I'm just going to screen share something quickly here. So you'll have to do that for every new AI tool you use for most chats, that's the re-explaining problem that we started with. It didn't go away, it just moved. Now you have something though that you can take and use and go wherever you want. So that's a great start. Let me get ahead of you on something you might be thinking. So both Claude and ChatGPT let you set custom instructions within your settings. So that's a spot where you paste something in once and it rides along in every single chat after that. So you could take the voice profile you just built, drop it in to your custom instructions, and you wouldn't have to paste it again. If that's all you ever do, you're way ahead of most people. Most people don't even do that. So it's a real step up. But there is a ceiling on it. Custom instructions have a character limit and it's really not big, especially in free plan. So you probably can't put your full voice there. You can put a squeezed down version, some paragraphs, highlights. And one disadvantage too is that is applied to every chat that you use within Claude or Chat. So whether you're writing a launch email or drafting something personal, if your partner or kid is using on top of that, there's a lot more to how you write and your business. So there's no anti AI writing rules in there right now. There's no instructions for your visuals, your brand colors, and so on. Your AI, it's going to use those custom instructions. If you're like me and you have a couple of businesses, it's going to use the same custom instructions across all of them, and that just doesn't work. It's a great start, but it's not the full thing. So there's one way to solve that problem. I am a huge fan of using projects in your AI. Claude and ChatGPT both have projects within them. It's essentially just a folder system. Gemini has gems. Very little difference, but it's a folder that remembers you and your context. Whatever you put in that project folder, it stays. Your voice, your brand, your instructions, every single chat inside that folder will know that specific information. So you set it once in that project folder, you never paste again. You open a new chat in there and it already sounds like you. So I think that's the difference between a helpful shortcut, which we built today, and an actual system. The voice blurb that you built today is a shortcut and it's a great start. A project is where it becomes something you never have to think about again. Our project holds real context, not a summary of your voice, a full thing. It can hold a full brand book, multiple dozens of examples of your writing, your guidelines, your to-dos, the stuff that would never survive being crushed down to a few lines. So you can put whole documents in there. You can put your offers in there and change them out as they change. So every chat you would open inside of that project already has it from the first word. So this actually really matters if you wear more than one hat, if you use your AI for personal things, if you use it for different businesses, if you use it for your school community versus another community. Custom instructions are for your whole account, one voice everywhere, no exceptions. But most of us aren't that one voice. Most of us are multiple things. So you get projects, each one gets its own. One project for this, one for that. Each has its own context and none of them bleed into the other one. So you're not shrinking yourself to fit into a box. You're handing each part of your work the full picture and letting it stay there. So that's the real difference. Custom instructions are a great trick, but a project is where your full voice and your whole brand is really useful. Set it once and it's there every time in full and in depth. So your voice is just one piece of this. The full picture is a full brand book. So here's what actually would go into a brand book: who you serve, described like a real person, down to the exact phrases they use, what you stand for, the beliefs and positions that make your content sound like you and not everyone. So a full language guide, how you structure a piece, the way you open, the way you close, your rhythm. This is important to your visual identity, the colors and fonts, so AI can make on brand images too. This is great with ChatGPT. So that's a lot to build by hand. And honestly, most of us don't get around to it. I built an assistant that builds it with you. So it guides you through that. It asks good questions, does the work, and hands you the finished thing. So in my own testing, start to finish, setup to complete brand book, it took about an hour. And it lives inside a project. So it's set once and it's always available to you. As your business changes, you can go back and update it. It only takes a few minutes to regenerate your whole brand book. So you're not learning a new skill here. You're handing a job that you didn't want to do off to your assistant. So that's the brand book assistant, but here's where it gets good. Once your voice and brand live inside that project, There are other assistants that can help. The brand book gives you how you sound, what you stand for, who you serve. But you can take that brand book now and use it to create other things within other assistants. So this is the full system I've built for now. So once your voice and brand live in that project, we have two more assistants that plug into the same knowledge. One writes newsletters, and that sounds like you. Another can take a simple piece of content, that's the content repurposing assistant, a blog post, a podcast, a voice memo, and reshape it into everything else: Instagram posts and reels, short term form video scripts, Facebook, LinkedIn, and more. Same voice every time, no more re explaining. So that's the whole re-explaining problem that we started with today. Gone, not moved anyplace else. So all three of those are actually in my premium tier. If you want to take a look at the premium tier, it's there for you. No pressure. Just use what you wanted from today. That's absolutely fine. You get all three assistants included in that. I'm going to give you the full template so you can take that home. And if you're watching this on replay, that is fine too. So if you want to go back to it later, that is the document in the chat or in underneath the replay that I'll paste, and it has all of the prompts in it. So you can go and rebuild this again if you want for free. Fantastic. Okay, so that's it. That's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for spending an hour with me. This is the first time I've run this workshop, and thank you for going through it with me. I really appreciate it. I know that everybody's busy. So if you built your voice profile and you liked it, that's the whole point. Come and talk about it in Adapt Lab in the community. If you have any questions, put them in the Adapt Lab community. We're all there for you. It's such a supportive place. Okay, so take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in Adapt Lab.